We've got more folks than ever right now that are under contract or have closed on a new house before they've sold their old house.
Welcome to another Mortgage Minute. My name is Matt Thomas. I'm joined by Brian Dewald. Brian is a legendary mortgage lender. We decided to call him a legend last time. We're going to just roll with that this time. Brian, the market hasn't moved much in the last couple of weeks, which has been good because it's already been at sort of a good pace. January 9th of earlier this year, we saw 3-year lows, and we saw numbers dip into the fives. Is that correct?
Yeah, for a real short period of time. It was about maybe 36 hours or so, and it kind of crept back up a little bit, but I'm talking like a smidgen, right? And we're kind of seeing, each day we kind of see highs and lows a little bit. So some days are better than others. But if I were to draw a line from January 9th to February 12th, it's right there. It's very gosh darn close. Yep.
Yeah. Well, I just checked again today, just right before we got on here. And again, if a person qualifies for this rate, the going rate would be 6.1. So that is very close to the 5.99 that we saw earlier, which is great news. That means things haven't moved much in the last few weeks, which that is the news. But there isn't any news associated with that necessarily because things have been steady. So, Brian, that means that we can switch very quickly into I'd love to share some client success stories. Tell us what you've got going on. I know you mentioned that you've got some folks that are able to kind of do some bridge loan type of maneuvers that would allow them to buy a home before they sell their own home.
Yeah, so this seems to have gotten very, very popular over the last 60 to 90 days or so, it seems. And so, it's very challenging, especially for folks that have a family, right? A lot of these buyers that we're helping have younger kids at home, and they want, kind of move up type situation, right? But they just need a bigger house, whatever it may be. We've also got some that are downsizing and just don't want to worry about, being in the market at the same time and selling and buying at the exact same time or double move or whatever these are. But we've got more folks than ever right now that are under contract or have closed on a new house before they've sold their old house. We've got lots of different creative ways to do that, including bridge loans and HELOCs, and we've even had some asset depletion and some gifting going on. And there's all kinds of really neat ways that we can structure these so that folks can get in to a new place before they sell their old home. So it's neat.
Yeah, that's great. That is something that somebody, a lot of folks come to me with and say, what would be best for me is to buy my house first and then have something to transition into, which is really helpful. That comes, I assume, at some expense, but maybe it's more like a convenience fee. Is that kind of how you would categorize that?
Yeah, and it just totally depends on, each situation is so unique that, we can figure it out pretty quickly by having a conversation, but it's just, there's no one size fits all. I can tell you bridge loans aren't free. So if we end up going that route, there's the cost of the bridge, and even that varies based on each scenario. And we have lots of different options for bridge loans. If somebody's depleting some assets to do it, we've gotten a little creative with using some retirement funds and working closely with their investment advisors to figure out a good way to use those funds. There's lots of different ways we can slice the pie there. So it just depends on each situation is so unique. It's hard to say what the cost looks like.
And by asset depletion, you mean dipping into a retirement fund? Is that what you're saying?
Or investments or savings or lines of credit we've done there's lots. I've had folks borrow against their assets to do it with a line of credit against, their investment accounts. And so it's, like I said, we're very creative about coming up with new ideas to help people figure this piece out.
Well, it's interesting that probably represents a level of confidence that we, haven't seen in a little while. People are less willing to do something like that, which seems like there's more risk if they take on more debt, if they deplete an asset, if they, buy a second home before they've sold their other one. It usually takes confidence in the market to do that. And one of the things where I've seen is that our days on market was going down. Our inventory is starting to feel a little spring-like, so it's been steady, which kind of brings some new offerings to the market. And we're really seeing that the time on market is coming down in a lot of cases. Some of the homes that were on the market forever, that really lasted for the winter, are starting to go under contract. But a lot of the ones that we're seeing that are bringing that number down, that overall days on market, is some of the new fresh listings that are hitting the market, and they're on the market for now, 2 or 3 weeks and going off, which is quite a bit of a turn since last year.
For sure. Yeah, we're seeing multiple. We've only closed some with multiple offers on them and stuff this year, so it feels like the spring market is upon us very, very early this year.
Yeah, and I think that's consensus. Everything that I've read and everything that I've witnessed is that the market is here already. We always make correlations to the weather and things like that. I don't know that has anything to do with it. But again, there's pent-up demand that I think is being finally, some folks are doing something about it. At some point, you wait and you wait and you wait for the next house or the new house. At some point, somebody has to make that move and decide, hey, this is the time for me. Just had a conversation with a guy last night who was asking about rates, of course, and he was unaware that you could buy rates down into the 5s and the 4s, and which is something that we've brought up several times in the show. And it was really interesting to see the countenance on his face change, because it almost was like he started thinking, like, what's next? What could I pull off? Because he's got a favorable rate. He doesn't want to change it, but he's thinking if the rates are, 6, 7, 8, that wouldn't be possible. For now, we would certainly love an opportunity to help you with your real estate and your mortgage needs. And we appreciate you tuning in here to, stay apprised of the latest information regarding mortgages.